Alright YouTube, in this video we are going to see how to add a review to this product. So if you see, these are the products which this is a product which we get reviewed. We have almost 5 reviews, and if the user has already submitted review, he would get the message said you already submitted review for this product. So if I refresh, I have already removed the reviews. So I'm logged in as pqr@gmail.com. So I'm submitting a review as 100%. I'm submitting the review for the first time, and it will show the review, and you are not allowed to review again. That is working, and this data is saved over here. And let me log in with some other email. Let me see this one. For that I have to log out, log in, and I'm going to review it with this email ID. Yes. So again I'm submitting. So this time it should display it, and it should display the message you already submitted review and you are not supposed to submit the review again. Fine. Now if I open this in incognito, we are getting a message. You should not get that. Let me solve this. So right now I'm logged in as incognito. The form is itself not available. So but if I'm logged in, now I'm logged in, and let's log in with different account. And you should see this guy also already submitted. Let me change. And now if you see, I have logged in with David, and you see that the name and email is already filled. We cannot change it. This is what we are going to see. I will tap anything. It doesn't matter. So if you see I have submitted review, you have already submitted the mail. You have already submitted the review. You are not allowed to submit again. So the review is also available for not logged in user, and the not logged in user does not get the form to fill the reviews. This is what we are going to see in this video. To create the review system, so we need a set of tables, or we need a table and a columns to be created. So for that, let's create it now. So I'm going to create a table. Click on new. The table name is going to be reviews, and the column is going to be 5. Let me add one more. The first one is ID, which is going to be primary key, auto increment. Sorry. The second one is product ID, which is again foreign key from product table. Then user ID, this is again a foreign key from user table. And then we have reviews, and then we have timestamp, which will show date and time, and the default value is going to be current timestamp. We click on save. The table will be created, reviews, and if you see, these are the columns. And if you see, we are now logged in. So let me log in first. I'm going to log in with this name. We click on details, and on the reviews, I have logged in the name of Alexa, and I want to show the name and email address here. So for that, we have to get into the single.php. So the input field is in the form, Control B. So these are the two places where we need to add the name and email. Let me add the value. So let me add the SQL query here. So we need name and email. So if you see, name is in another table and email is in another table. Let me show you the table. So on the users table we have email, and on users data table we have first name and last name. So we have a primary key here and we have a foreign key here. This primary key, the ID primary key of users, is available as foreign key in users data table. So for that I'm going to use a join. So the first table is, let's give the first table as users, and the second table is going to be users table, users data. Fine. And now in the users table we have a primary key called ID, and in users data we have a foreign key called user ID. So if I run it, I should get two tables combined. So I'm just going to modify. I just need a first name, last name. I need email address. Which I will get from table users. This is users here. So user dot. So I'll get only the list of emails available. So on the users data I'll take the first name and last name. So to write this query, copy it, and then we will get user data dot comma data dot, and one more time comma. The first one is going to be first name, the second is going to be last name. Click on go, and as you asked for, you got it. Now we have tried the select query here, so it will be available over here. We copy this whole thing and paste it here. $SQL equal to, and the list of query, the query which I have copied it and pasted, and I need to use the where clause. If you see, I have the ID 7, so this is the product ID. So the product ID we don't need, we need the customer ID, so which I would have stored it into a session while logging in. Let's search for session. We don't have session here, so we have to get from checkout, checkout.php. We'll use this ID. So this is the ID of the current logged in user on the single.php. So this is the place. We'll store the customer ID into a variable called $C_ID. So this is the user ID, so we need to pass. We'll copy the same SQL query, and we need to add where clause. We have already added where clause. from user set, okay, where user id is available on user data dot user id equal to 7. We click on go, and yes, we are getting the query. And in place of this, what you have to do is you have to add $_cd cid. So this is the thing. So instead of where, we need to add and. That's it. Semicolon is missing. That's why it is showing some useless error. And now we'll get the SQL for name, email, which is a single result. If it exists, then fetch the value. And we'll display it. We can access the name and store it into a PHP variable. Name and email. So before that, we'll assign it to nothing. So in case if the query is returned as 0, so that should not be error. So the column name is first name, and we'll concatenate with last name. And then we have email. Fine, I will display it over here. PHP echo name, which is a combination of first name and last name. And then we have email. So click refresh on the reviews. Line 44, 144, Control G, 144. Is over here. If it is greater than 0, then I can execute. So this query is wrong. So I'll surround it with double quotes, and I'll surround this with single quotes. Now if I try, yes, we are getting the name and email. So the same way, if I open an incognito, that means I am not logged in with any other name, so there should not be an error, there should be just space. Control G, 139. So we'll add a PHP set function. If the session is set, then only use this ID. Refresh it on the reviews. 143. It is giving an error because I'm passing some nothing. So again we'll add the SQL query inside. Hard refresh. So we'll close this if condition over here. Name and ID about the session. We have somewhere removed the PHP, that's the reason. And now name is showing up here, and here it is blank because we are going to insert the values from the form to the table reviews. So for that we are in the review section, so we have to check the form and we'll add the method post. We have name, we have email, and we have review. So these are the values: name, email, and review. And let's add name to submit button, and I want to add a condition. If this is set, if the name is set, I want to add a disabled. If is set inside the PHP block. We'll try to use a ternary operator. If it is set, then disabled, else nothing. Let's see. Let's add echo over here. Or instead of, we'll use a normal if block. This I would echo it. Sorry for that. If dollar name is not empty, then try. Spelling wrong. Fine, it is disabled. The same way for email as well. If it is set, then it should be disabled. 161. If you see, it should be disabled. Fine, that's working. Now we'll work on insert query on the top. If is set $_post and it is submit, we'll store it into a variable. The first one is name, the second input field is email, and the third input field is review. And we are going to insert it inside the ID. For the insert query, we have here so insert into reviews is the table name, where we are going to pass the ID. ID is primary, we don't have to pass that. The product ID, which we will get from $get super global variable, and then we have user ID, which we will get from session, and the review, which we will get from text field, and finally the times we don't have to insert it. So we don't need this to variable. Finally we keep it. That's not an issue. We'll have to declare the session somewhere up. This is the session which acts as a product ID. Sorry, this is the customer ID. I'm sorry for that. This is customer ID, and the product ID we will get it here. We have product ID. We'll pass the product ID first. Product ID, then customer ID, then review. We have a review variable, and if the query is inserted, fine. Insert review. We would like to show the message. Review submitted, and we'll define this as blank, and this after insertion on the form submit. We'll have a PHP block. Review. If I type something, we'll first check the table of review, which is blank at present. Some product. Click on submit. Undefined index, name and email, 12 and 13. Control G, 12. we'll leave it. And let's check whether it is inserted or not. It is inserted. Now let's try to insert again. I'm deleting it. Now it is blank. Everything is blank. Let me try to add some other thing. Very awesome. Very awesome t-shirt. If I click on start review, his review submitted, and on the table you see t-shirt, and now you can see we can submit data and store it in our database. Now let's fetch the value and display it over here. So in the single.php, just above the list, so these are the lists which will be repeated, so we'll just remove it. And here, before knowing that, what are the things we need? We need name, timestamp, and review. But if you see in the reviews table, we are just storing the user ID. So again we have to use join the review table and the users data table, because the user data table has the first name and last name. So fine. So let's see whether we have used join here. If we have used, we'll take the code and display it. We'll copy this and we'll get into the list item section. Here we have to write it inside PHP block. So the SQL select all, or okay, we'll use all, from user data and reviews and user data on user data has user ID. Sorry, user data. What is user data? User data has user ID, and review has UID. So we don't need and here prefix is all review. All review, and this is not going to be single value, this is going to be multiple value. So for that we have to use while loop. So here fetch association array and store it into a just between these we need the li php, close it, and here you open it. So with this we can echo first name, which we'll get from user meta, and then we have timestamp, which we will get from reviews timestamp, and then we have paragraph, which we will get from review tables, review column. 133, Control G, 133. Yes, if I try to use again, all good. Size is perfect. Submit, and I should see 2 reviews. Let me log in with some other account. Users, this guy. Click log out. Log in with another account. Get into this and add your review. You can see a name and email is available. Yes, I love it. Submit review, and this time it's quit. And if you see here, he is allowed to add multiple review. That should not be the case. Perfect fit. So if you see, I can add multiple review, but this should not be the case. So right now what we'll do is, per user only one review is allowed. What we are going to do is, we are going to check whether the user has already submitted the review or not. So for that, if you get into the reviews table, you see the ID and the product. The product is 7, the ID is 2. If the product is 7 and this ID is 2, then you don't have to show the add review form. So for that, again we have to write a, so before that we need to find a perfect place for form. So this is the form. We have to hide and show the form based on the condition. So here the form ends. So just above the form we have to check with the PHP block, does this person has already submitted the review. Select star from a review or reviews. It's reviews, where product ID is equal to, we'll have it, and user ID equal to, we'll have it, where the product ID is what we'll get from the get $_get. We will already have this somewhere. And we'll store it as product ID. And the user ID, which we'll get from session $_. And we will use this session. If both the thing matches, and if we get one value, $_count, SQL count, because we are checking whether it is there or not. If the count is equal to 1, that means it exists already. Greater than 1 or greater than 0, then If it is greater than 1, we need to show the echo. S3. You already submitted a review for this product. If you want to add a bootstrap class text center, you can do it. Else we'll show this form. So if I refresh, 169, so my review already existed, so it should say you already submitted review for this product. So if you see, you already submitted review for the product. If I log in with some other guy, log out and log in with some other guy, let's say this guy, and if I try to not add to cart, sorry for that, I should have get into the reviews. %. Click on submit review, and right now you should get a message that you have already submitted the review. Fine, that is working.